Hi guys, like I said, this is Mika Mish, and I thought it would be perfect to kind of share my story a little bit. I think that it's super important as women to know your worth, and I think that a lot of times when we are in love, we don't really think logically. We always think with our emotions, and then it's like time passes by to where we kind of think back like, damn, the damage has been done. Maybe I should get out of this relationship and maybe I should just move on with my life. I was in a very abusive relationship. I didn't have any kids with this man that I was with. And, everything was great in the beginning. And we're going to call him Aaron. So I had met Aaron being out one day, and I thought he was a really cool guy, and I thought that he was good looking, he was handsome, he knew how to carry himself. And I think that the mistake that I made was that I ignored a lot of red flags in the beginning. I knew that he had a lot of like trouble with the law. I knew that he was like on probation. I just didn't know exactly what for. Um, so fast forward, he moved in with me into the apartment that I had, and I just started noticing a lot of things, and some of the lot of things that he just didn't share with me. And I remember like his mother being on the phone, and she was like asking me like, "Hey, did he get his medication?" and all this other stuff. And I'm just thinking like, what fucking medication is he supposed to be on? And she just kind of briefly told me that he had schizophrenia. And like, I was very ignorant about schizophrenia. Like, when you think of schizophrenia, you just think, oh, people are just psycho, crazy, whatever. And I think it's like much deeper than that, because it's really psychological. And it's more than just hearing things in your head. You tend to be very paranoid, and you kind of exaggerate a lot of your feelings into something that really isn't there. um Maybe 2 weeks after he had moved in with me, um we had gotten to like a brief argument. I can't really remember exactly what it was, and he hit me. And I would remember just being super shocked, and I remember just thinking to myself, like, did this motherfucker just really hit me? And I think I was more shocked because the argument really wasn't that big of a deal, and I didn't think it resorted to me being smacked in my face. So I think that I was just really shocked, and in my head I was thinking like, oh, he didn't mean to do it. Oh, he was mad at me. It's not going to happen again. It was just a slip up. That was my first mistake. And that was my first sign, maybe second sign of me ignoring a red flag. And so the relationship started getting really bad. He was, I would catch him talking to other women. I would catch him speaking really inappropriate to other women. He was on these dating sites. He just had a really bad like anger problem too. I mean, the simplest things, would set him off. If I disagreed with him, if I argued with him in any way, shape, or form, that would result to me being hit. So, it just started to be worse and worse and worse. And, it got to the point where I just didn't want my kids to be in the household, so if I got an indication that there was about to be an argument or things were going to get escalated, I always made sure that my kids would go to my mother's house or their grandparents' house, just to make sure that they were safe and they wasn't witnessing any of the BS, you know what I mean? So I kept this from everybody in my life. My best friend, I kept it from my mother, my father, my sister, until she actually witnessed him putting his hands on me. And I kept it from everyone because, one, I was really ashamed of myself, because, I psychologically thinking, I'm like, this sort of thing doesn't happen to me. Like, this cannot be real, because, I never thought in a million years that I would be in an abusive relationship. I never thought that I would be scared for my well-being and my kids' well-being. So I just really didn't want anybody to intervene or tell me what I already knew. And the thing about being in an abusive relationship is that you know, especially when you have kids, you kind of have to be strategic about the moves that you make and the decisions that you make, because at the end of the day, your life is in at stake. Let's be real, and you don't want your children in harm's way, and you got to make sure that you do everything right legally for your protection. You have to make sure that you're reacting to certain situations a certain type of way to not provoke that person. And so, I was trying to plan, like, how do I get him out of here? How do I, where do my kids go from this time to this time? Me keeping my eye out on him, just making sure that I knew his moves and motives. So there was a time where I think it was the very last time that I actually put a stop to it. I realized that I've been realized that I didn't want to be with this person again, but I finally found the courage to tell him that, I didn't want to be with him anymore. I just wanted to move on with my life, and I thought it was best that he just go back to his family in Georgia. And so Aaron was completely upset. He brutally raped me. He beat me to a bloody pulp. And I just remember feeling a sense of hopelessness and feeling a sense of there's really nothing I can do about it. The only thing that I could do was just take it and take it and take it. So I took it. And this lasted for hours and hours and hours. And I just remember feeling sick inside. I just remember feeling like worthless. And when someone takes something from you, you just really it's just like an upsetting feeling inside. You're pissed, you're angry, you're sad, you're hurt, you're devastated. You feel all these emotions at once, and that's how I felt. So in the morning time, he took my car and he went to the store, and he did leave my phone because he had my phone the whole night. I took it upon myself. As soon as I saw him drive off out of the parking lot, I went and called the police. And I remember having bruises all over me, and my eye was black, and I had a bruise on my neck, and I had bruises on my body. And I would just remember, like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. There was a gentleman that was my neighbor, and he saw my appearance, he saw all these things, and he was just like, what the fuck? And I remember him telling me, like, yeah, I knew that for months that he was putting his hands on you. I've been known. And I just remember thinking, like, you knew this whole time and you didn't step in and say anything. Like, I'm not asking you to come to the house, I'm not asking you to knock on the door and beat him up, but it just was amazing to me that there was someone that heard it, and not just one time, but for months, and didn't call the police or anything. So that was really scary. And it just made me think, like, how many people do that? Like, when people are in need or scared or something's happening to them, I feel like a lot of deaths probably could have been prevented if someone just calls the police, you know what I mean? But anyway, fast forward, the cops came, they waited for him, he finally came, and they arrested him. And I remember having to go to the hospital and them taking pictures of me doing the rape kit and all this other things. And I just remember feeling so humiliated. And then, everyone has to find out, your closest friend, your parents, your grandparents, everyone finds out. And you just have a sense of, like, a shameness of, like, damn, like, how did I let it get this far? And so I had to go to, like, downtown to, like, give my statement and everything else. And it was so crazy because when something like this happens to women, even men, it seems like they always want to crack you down to kind of not, like, it comes off like they don't believe you, and it comes off like they're just, oh, you probably, this rape was consensual, this rape, you wanted it or whatever. And I just felt so like pissed because, they were trying to say that, like, since we were together for a little while that, it could have been consensual. And I'm like, no, just because you're with someone, it doesn't mean that you're obligated to sleep with them. If you don't want to sleep with someone, you don't have to sleep with them. If they take that from you, that is rape. And, you know, I was just fast forward to that, he did go away. He did go to prison and everything. And I didn't see Aaron or anything like that, but I was being, I think that he was out temporarily, and then he ended up doing some stuff to like my apartment, like breaking in and getting some stuff. And I remember, him coming to my house and stalking me and everything like that. But he ended up going away to Georgia and being put in prison for years. So I really don't know exactly what he's doing with his life. He could still be in prison. But the whole purpose of this video is to encourage women to speak up and know that it's okay. If you have ever been in an abusive relationship, or if you currently are in one, I strongly suggest you get out. I've never been so close to death in my whole entire life, and that experience woke me up, because it's like, I have kids to think about. I have to think about my kids' future. I have to think about my kids' safety. I have to make sure that I realize and fully aware of what my kids witness and how it affects them. And so moving forward from that, I was very strong about the type of men that I dated, how I don't rush anything in relationships, how I try not to, think with my emotions instead of thinking with my head. And I just try to take my time. And I think it's so important to take your time when you get out of a bad relationship, because you're still learning who you are. And I think it's important to kind of analyze a mistake that you made and a lesson that you need to learn, so that when you go on into what that you don't want or don't need, and that what you won't tolerate, and you look back to the decisions that you made in the past, you're able to think clearly and able to say, you know what? This is a red flag. This is something that I've seen previously. Let me not make that mistake anymore. And so I'm just super happy, because this journey this year, I feel like all the things that I've gone through, I have a story to tell, and I wanted to write a book about it. So that's what I'm in the process of doing to this day. So I just wanted to share that story with you, and know that you're not alone, and somebody out there has probably gone through the same thing as you, or similar, or is going through that thing right now. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you can go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button. If you don't like it, that's fine too. If you have any questions, or you simply just want to ask me a question, or just need advice, you can go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll get back with you. You can find me on Facebook, Mika Michelle, not my other Facebook. Mika Michelle is what I'm on. And then believe it's Mika Mish on Instagram. If I'm incorrect, I'll just update that. But anyway, I hope everyone has a great day, and see you till next time.